Good evening and thank you so much for joining us tonight. An affidavit is shedding new light on the arrest of an East Texas police chief and police officer accused of dealing drugs previously seized by their own department. As KLTV7's Lexi Vanetti reports, it explains how two Payne Springs officers used a confidential informant to buy and sell drugs.
Payne Springs Police Chief April Meadows and Officer Jonathan Hutchison are charged with delivery of a controlled substance and money laundering. According to the affidavit, the Henderson County Sheriff's Office obtained information the pair used a confidential informant to buy and sell drugs. The informant says they made more than 20 controlled buys for Hutchison and Meadows without the officers there. Payment for their services include cash, but sometimes the officers would pay via CashApp or even marijuana as payment. The informant saw Meadows place the drugs inside a bag marked as evidence. The affidavit indicates Hutchison and Meadows were also concerned about the quality of the narcotics the informant was purchasing. In one instance, Hutchison told the informant the deliveries were, quote, too weak or trash, and the informant would need to get rid of or sell the narcotics, find better narcotics to turn in, or return the money. The informant says they were also directed to begin purchasing methamphetamine, and at this point, they began questioning the legitimacy. The affidavit states the informant provided methamphetamine to Hutchison and Meadows while inside the impound lot of Payne Springs Police Department. The officers were arrested at their homes Thursday morning. Lexi Vanetti, KLTV7 News.
And it was the informant who turned in the police chief and the officer. Both Meadows and Hutchison are each being held on $3 million bond.